Welcome to Her Love of Sports with your host, Katie Hamilton.
Welcome to Her Love of Sports Community Spotlight. The community is the heart of sports, and we are excited to highlight some of the incredible people who go above and beyond for their community. Today, we are exploring a sport that is not as highlighted as some other sports, but deserves lots of attention. We're talking roller skating. Roller skating has a loyal fan following and is a thrilling activity that requires skill, balance, and agility. So let's lace up our skates and get ready to dive into the world of roller skating. Joining us today is the founder and owner of Roller Skate Victoria, Andrea Boys. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk about all things skating.
I am too. And it's something I have family members that are in roller skating. They love it. And I love watching all their videos. And it really seems like here in Victoria, there is a roller skating community. So can you just kind of talk to us? And for the viewers, could you also explain the difference between roller skating and rollerblading? Let's just get that out there first, the difference. Okay.
Okay, sure. So first of all, so roller skating, roller I actually brought a skate to show you in case I needed a reference, but we can see it
Perfect.
here. And for those listening, I'm holding up a quad skate, and that's where the wheels go 2x2, two in the front and two in the back. Roller blading is more in the style of an ice skate. So the wheels are directly in one line. And that's why sometimes it's called inline skating, because all the wheels are in one line. So that's like the main difference is the style of the skate. But what the skates allow you to do is another difference. And so inline skates tend to be a little bit more, you can go faster on them. So they're a little bit more for speed. They're really great for things like hockey, like roller hockey. You'll often see people in an inline skate for roller hockey. You'll see people in an inline skate for speed skating, for roller speed skating, and also
Mhm.
for a sport called slalom. And slalom is a sport where you have a series of tiny little pylons all lined up, and people are maneuvering in and out of all those little pylons, doing all kinds of tricks without touching the pylon with their skate. So I'm not sure, Katie, if you've ever seen there's been some sort of viral posts online of people doing that style of inline skating. But it's definitely worth taking a look at slalom skating. And then quad skating, quads were invented prior to inlines. And the 2x2 quad skates, it's more like a car, right? So you have a car, two wheels in the front and two wheels in the back. And then inline skates are more like a bicycle, one wheel in front, one wheel in the back. And what quad skates are really great for is actually dancing. So there's a whole wide range of dance moves you can do on quad skates that you can't do as well on an inline skate. And so that's kind of where I come from because I love the dancing. And so I kind of more lean towards the quad skates because of the dance moves I can do on them.
That's amazing. And like you kind of said, it's dance. It's also an art. So it's not only fitness for roller skating. I'm counting it as a sport because there's so much to it, but it's also an art form and you can do performances. So how did you get involved in skating to begin with?
Sure. Well, I've spent most of my life actually as an ice skater, as a competitive figure skater for most of my youth. So I actually started ice skating at age 4. Just like a lot of kids do, you sign up for the swimming lessons, you sign up for the skating lessons, and you kind of see what you like. I picked up the ice skating really quickly. I then joined Can Skate, which is via Skate Canada, which is the national governing body for figure skating in Canada, and continued
Mhm.
there. But it was probably when I was about 6 years old that I decided it was going to be my sport. Because through Can Skate, you're with the local skating club. And I grew up in Richmond, BC, and the club was Cannot Skating Club. And every 2 years, they would do a big production. So all the kids in the skating club got to be in this skating show. And so when I was 6 years old, I got to be I got to be in a little skating performance with the kids in my can skate class, and we were
Oh,
we were Dutch girls. We skated to tiptoe through the tulips. And
yes.
so I
Yes, I know that song.
so I learned the routine. I had this like cutest little outfit with like, sequins and a little tulip on the front and cute little like fake wooden shoes on covering the little skates. And we did a little performance.
Oh,
And I just
cute.
remember the moment when I was in the performance doing all the steps right. And I looked up and I saw my family sitting in a row, my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, all in one row. And I looked up and they waved to me and they were just so happy watching me do this thing. And I was like, oh, they think I'm amazing. And I felt like a star. And I think that's kind of what helped me decide to become a skater. Anyway, so it became ice skating for me. I trained as a competitive figure skater up until the age of 17. Um, and then
Wow.
I went, I actually always remembered that moment as a little Dutch girl and my parents being so excited to watch me perform. And so performance was always sort of the thing that fueled me. And I went and skated with Disney on Ice. As soon as I graduated from high school, I got hired for Disney on Ice, toured with them for a
Wow.
little while and learned a little bit more about professional show performance skating. And um, anyway, that's sort of the ice skating background. So I did that for a little while. And then how did I become a roller skater? Well, going back, we did have a roller rink in Richmond where I grew up, Stardust Roller Rink. And we would go there for
Hmm.
fun and birthday parties. And I specifically remember having, I think it was like my eighth birthday party. And I had a new Kids on the Block themed birthday party at Stardust Roller Rink. So super, super early 90s references there.
Love it.
You get a sense of how old I am now. But roller skating was always the fun skating, if that makes sense. And
Okay.
so I always did a little bit of roller skating and a lot of ice. Um, sorry, this answer is getting quite long, but how I got into roller skating was actually years later. I got invited to try roller derby as a sport, and it's something that I was kind of like heard about and thought was like super cool and like like these like tough girls with like the fun names and full contact sport and everything. And I thought, like I know how to skate, so maybe that's half the battle, right? So I went out and tried roller derby, and I
Hmm.
ended up doing roller derby for 3 years, and that was what introduced me back to quad skating after having not done it for years since the Stardust days. So
Wow. And yes, mentioning roller derby, and I remember going to watch, and that's how we connected. It was through my aunt Shauna, who comes to your roller skating and is in the community. And she was doing roller derby years ago, and I think it was at Archie Browning Arena in Esquimalt, and we went and watched a derby, and it's quite physical. And I think some people maybe don't think about it when you think of roller derby, but it's quite intense. It's physical. It's very competitive. So can you just talk a little bit more about roller derby as a sport?
yeah, sure. So roller derby as a sport, it is a full contact sport, and it's for all genders. But uh, the league I was in was the primarily like women's and non-binary, you know, basically a non-men's identifying league. And so I joined that league, and I think what was really cool is that it's a full contact sport. There's minimal padding. It's very tough. I thought I would immediately be really good at it because I could skate, but that is it is half the battle, maybe maybe only part of it. It does take like requires a lot of strength and a lot of courage and a lot of training as well. So this athletes that
Mhm.
do compete in roller derby are training multiple days a week on skates and then also off skates as well in the gym, bringing up their strength and everything like that. So roller derby,
Yeah,
honestly,
there seems
it was an amazing experience, and I'm sure your aunt has a lot of wonderful memories being in that as well.
Well, yeah, it seems like there's so much to it too, right? And it's physical, and I must have been in my teens around like 18 or 19 or something, and I was playing competitive sports, so I was fitter back then, and even I was watching and I was like, Auntie Shauna, I was like, this is physical. Like, I can't do this. I'm not a skater as well. I can hold my own on the ice, but I haven't been on roller skates yet. But it's competitive, and it seems like there's so much to it and a little bit of strategy, I think, of because you're on teams, right? Or pairs. How does that kind of work?
Yeah, so there's 2 teams, and the goal of each of the teams is to either try to get around the tracks. They skate around a circle, right? And the goal is to get the player with the star on the helmet, they're called the jammer, to get around as many times as possible. And each player of the opposing team that they pass scores them points as they get around. Meanwhile, the opposing team is trying to stop them, and their teammates are trying to help them. So it's a little bit like football in this
Yeah.
sense. You have the offense and you have the defense, and everyone's doing their job. And so as the jammer, their job is to get around the defenders of the other team with the assistance of their own team. And basically each person they pass gives their team points. And
I love
yeah,
it.
it's like
Very
full
exciting.
contact, body check, everything. So you're skating
Yeah.
around, the opposing team has got their defenders trying to knock you out. And it's very physical and a lot of fun.
Totally. And I've always wanted to ask this question because in roller derby, and I'm sure probably in skating too, is you have your name, but then you also have your skating name, and yours is Skater Boy. And how do you come up? Who comes up with these names? Is it you get it if you're a rookie, you get it from your other teammates? Is it something you pick on your own? How do players get those names?
Sure. Well, in roller derby, uh, basically you're invited to pick your own name, and it's kind of
Okay.
like your alter ego. Um, the sport back in the day, it was a little bit more almost like WWE wrestling. Back in the olden days, and it was like it was more drama and more campy, and people had the names,
Mhm.
and it was like for the sole purpose of the audience entertainment. And so the new world of roller derby adopted a lot of that, and paid homage to the history of the sport. But in terms of the
Right.
name, yeah, I think it's whatever makes you feel powerful, whatever whoever your alter ego is. And actually, when I played roller derby, my derby name was Bad Boys. So Boys is
Okay.
my last name. So of course I had to make a pun out of that. And then, when I stopped
Yeah.
roller derby and I went towards the more non-violent style of roller skating, I chose a softer name. So we're now
I love
Skater
it.
Boy.
That's great.
And I know,
It's
yeah,
perfect. So now let's dive in. So you are the founder and owner of Roller Skate Victoria. Tell me about that. It's a community who can come and really how did you start this great brand?
yeah, sure. So as I was just talking about, I was introduced to roller derby. I did that for a few years. Um, Meanwhile, I was, right into it, and I went over to Vancouver to a shop called Roller Girl. I was buying some equipment. I can't even remember what I was buying at the time, but I went there to buy some equipment for roller derby. And in the shop, they had a sign up on the wall, and it said jam skating lessons this Saturday. And it just so happened that I was still going to be around in Vancouver on that day. And so I asked them, what is jam skating? And they said, oh, it's dancing on roller skates. And for me, that was like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh, dancing on roller skates. Wow, that sounds like something like, I'd really enjoy, right? With my skating background, figure skating. And now I'm really into this quad
Mhm.
skating through the roller derby. And I just said, you know what? I'd like to come. I'd like to come and see what this is all about. And so I went to the class. It was taught by Chris Naima, who is one of the at the time was one of the few people doing this style of roller skating in Vancouver. And he had been an aggressive inline skater throughout the 90s and a very successful one, touring around Canada. And, the ramp, like skating down the ramps and tricks at the top and that kind of thing. But he had picked up quad skating as he was also a swing dancer. And so that was a way for him to
Okay.
combine his swing dancing with his skating skills. Anyway, so he was teaching roller dancing in Vancouver at the time and trying to, spread the word about this art form and encouraging more people to try it.
Mhm.
So I took the class and I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. And I asked the teacher, Chris, and I said, "Oh, I love this so much, but I'm actually from Victoria. Is there anyone in Victoria doing this style of skating that I could maybe reach out to? We can maybe practice some stuff together." And he said he didn't know anybody in Victoria doing this. And he kind of joked. He's like, "You'll just have to start your own group." And so I did. And so I just started like a meetup group. I invited all the people I knew from roller derby and my figure skating background to come meet me at the rink and try some stuff that I've learned and let's experiment together. And so that was probably back in, I don't know, let's say 2014, 2015 at the time. Nobody in Victoria was doing that style of roller skating. And so, I started that group and then just people sort of started coming and then they started asking me for lessons and, "Oh, I know, please teach me, I'll pay you," kind of thing. And I was like, "Wow, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing," kind of thing. I don't want to take your money.
Mhm.
But it was then I decided, well, maybe I should actually go and figure out what I'm doing. I went and to Seattle where they had a certification as a roller skating instructor course. So I started there and I got certified as a roller skating instructor, and then I kinda just started teaching, and Roller Skate Victoria was formed.
Wow, I love that. That's amazing. I actually have been to Roller Girl over in
Oh,
Vancouver.
cool.
Um, yeah, I work over there quite a bit, and I brought my aunt over for one of my working events, and she wanted to go, so we went, and they must have had some sort of events or something because it was packed with people, and it was just kind of such a fun experience, and there was just a vibe put out by everybody, just like a positive, fun, energetic vibe, and I was like, I got to get into this. I got to get into it. Unfortunately, my aunt's shoe size is way smaller than mine, so I have to go and get some roller skates to get going, but it definitely seems like something that's really in the community as well. Like you said, you started, you brought in some people and then more people wanted to join. So I think it's quite beautiful that you started this and really offering this to the community, especially something that's not as out there as say like soccer, which is my sport, or basketball, where there's lots of leagues, lots of teams, especially growing up. But to have this by you and this opportunity, I think is fantastic. And yeah, it's great. I also had one of my little nieces, I think she was around 5 or 6 at the time, she got into roller skating as well. So it was so cute to see the young ones starting and yeah, to just kinda get out there and do their thing. For for beginners, for someone who hasn't done it before but is kind of interested, they've seen the videos, they've looked at your webpage, what advice would you give to them for starting out and getting out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, don't be afraid. Uh, you as soon as you put a pair of skates on, you are a skater. A lot of people, they count themselves out. They say, "Oh, I'm too old to try this. Oh, I'm gonna break something," or "This looks too hard," or "I'm not athletic enough," or "I don't," whatever they think about themselves. This is a sport for everybody. And I think that's what I love about roller dancing in particular is how accessible and inclusive it is. And I think coming from a competitive skating background where you have to be so very in a little box and be so perfect and be very specific um, to
Mhm.
succeed. And I think a lot of people can probably relate regardless of what sport you're in. But when you're in the competitive environment, um, it's not, maybe you feel like it's not for everybody because even in a competitive world, there's only one winner. And if it's not you, you think, oh, I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I was not the winner.
Mhm.
And I was, oh, I failed. I'm no good at this. But with roller skating and recreational skating and roller dancing, it's for you. And um, I think for a beginner just starting out, I want them to know that it's for them. And we have people in our school of all ages, like every decade of person is in our school, every background, every body size, every athletic ability. There's something for you. It's very accessible. And if all you can do is stand up on the skates and move your feet a little bit like back and forth, you're in the show. You're in our show. There's a spot for you. So I just don't want people to just like immediately um, discredit themselves as not being the right kind of person for it because it really is for everybody. And roller skating, recreational roller skating and roller dancing is a very welcoming, inclusive environment. And if you join Roller Skate Victoria, will welcome you with open arms, regardless of anything about you.
I love that. And yeah, you can just tell the inclusivity and seeing people express themselves too. One thing I love is looking through the videos and seeing people's outfits and their roller gear and yeah, just being able to express themselves and be them and try something and yeah, go from there.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't talked about is kind of like the terrain of where you can roller skate on. So say someone is like, okay, I want to come to Roller Skate Victoria, but I haven't gone. I'm a little nervous, so I might just go practice quickly by myself. What where can people like what kind of terrain can they go on? Cement, tennis courts, what do you suggest?
That's a great question. So the ideal place to skate is somewhere that is a nice, smooth surface without bumps or rocks, because any bumps or rocks are going to be knocking you over. But we don't want to discourage people from going to skate outside. And so, um, there's different kinds of wheels you can get for different kinds of surfaces. So if you're skating inside, you can afford to have, like a smaller, harder wheel. If there's, like we skate inside, we spend a lot of our times at Perks Rec Field House in Saanich and
Mhm.
locally here in Victoria. And it's essentially a giant tennis court. So if you think about like sort of that green cement surface of a tennis court, that's kind of the surface we're
Yeah.
usually skating on. It's indoors and you don't expect to come across twigs or rocks. But if you're skating outside, you just never know. And so if you're skating outside, we recommend larger and softer wheels. And there's a whole spectrum of wheels that you can, buy and put into your collection for the different kind of surfaces we have. And
Mm.
so, yeah, that's kind of how people, yeah, if you have just one pair of skates for everything, it may not work as well. So once you kind of get into roller skating, you start to kind of collect all the parts. It's people end up with
Right, that makes
multiple
sense for sure.
pairs of skates sometimes for different, situations and different wheels, and it's also part of the fun of it too.
Yeah, totally. So can you just change out the wheels throughout if you're like, okay, I'm going indoors, I'm doing this, or do you try to get two different pairs of skates?
It depends on your budget. So you can easily,
Fair.
you get a little tool, you pull each wheel off and then put different wheels on. Um, you know,
Mhm.
some of the longer term skaters, they usually end up getting a few multiple pairs of skates for different scenarios just because they skate so often and it's easier to just slide your foot in and lace up than changing all the wheels. But if all you can afford is one pair, like one boot, and then maybe two sets of wheels, one indoor, one outdoor, you're good to go.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, last question for you. Is there any highlights in your career, a number one or number two highlight that you can think of to share with us?
Yeah. I think I've skated my whole life, and I think anyone that's been involved in a sport for their whole life can relate that it's kind of your go-to go-to place. It's whether anything I'm going through in my life, negative, positive, whatever. I always have this one constant that I can go back to, right? And that's the feeling of the movement of my sport. And I think anyone in any sport can kind of relate. It's a way to recalibrate
Mhm.
yourself and get you grounded and bring you back home. And so I think that honestly, my biggest accomplishment is just being committed to that and always going back to that and having that as like a constant for me. And I just hope and everybody can find something like that, whether it be in sport or in art or, maybe painting is your happy place. Like you've had a bad day, pick up your paintbrush. It
Mhm.
just brings you back to that place, you recalibrate, and that's like the essence of who you are, right? And I know you're an athlete as well. You can probably relate, with your soccer, when you go back to your soccer, it's just like, it's just like going back home. And so I think that's
Mhm.
probably overall the biggest accomplishment for me personally, and that's had the most positive impact in my life. And I think that I want to offer that to other people. If skating is that for them, I want to make it accessible to them so that they have a happy place to go to if they choose that skating is it.
Well, that's phenomenal. Thank you for everything you do in the community and for bringing roller skating, Roller Skate Victoria here for everyone to come and enjoy. And I know I'm inspired to get out there and I'm going to go
Yay!
get some skates and come visit you guys one day and test it out. Definitely like very very beginner. Like haven't stepped out on roller skates, but after talking to you, I'm feeling good and I'm feeling like I got to get out there and do
Well,
it.
Katie, it's in your blood and your genes because your aunt is a phenomenal roller skater, and she's a big source of inspiration for a lot of people actually around the world. So I encourage people that listen to your podcast to check out her Instagram at Rowdy Skates, ROWDY Skates. She's a skater, but also an artist, and I just love everything she posts. So I wanted to give her a little shout out as
Aw.
well.
Oh, that's so sweet. I know. Angie Shauna, she's the best. She's mentioned you so many times and just how wonderful you are. So I'm so glad that we were able to connect here today. And I love watching her journey and going on and seeing all her different videos and stuff. And that's what really has drawn me to it. And I can see how much it's impacted her life and how much fun she has out of it. So to know that it's throughout our community is just fantastic. So, Andrea, thank you so much for coming on Her Love of Sports and sharing your story.
Thanks for having me, Katie, and I can't wait to skate with you.
For more information on Her Love of Sports, visit herloveofsports.com or on our social at Her Love of Sports.